Tim Collins with Cullman today. I'm in the heart of Kenya, Africa, at least in downtown Cullman. I'm with Steve James. Steve, you don't have a typical office here. You've got artifacts all over Africa in here, don't you?
Yeah, I love my office because, you know, every little tiny item in here tells a story about an experience I had or about someone's life that's different from mine. And yeah, it's Africa.
See, this looks like something I would have. It looks like a ball of rubber bands or yarn or something.
It's a soccer ball, or football as they call it in Kenya, and that is what you see all across the country. Kids don't have leather soccer balls, uniforms, and shoes. So I think that the differences in our lifestyles are striking, but that is a soccer ball made from not Walmart bags, but whatever they have in Kenya.
That would have not been my first thought about what that is. That's amazing.
Yeah, we have a soccer ministry now. We just finished our field, so we're going to use the sport as an outreach in the community to the youth. So it's a beautiful field that we're building right now.
I think it's safe to say you lead a life that's different than most people in northern Alabama and Cullman. Tell us about Kenya.org. That's what you've been doing for a long time now.
Wow. You know, like I was saying earlier, it's not a life that I chose to live. You know, my involvement is connected with my career and my family, and you know, having 3 children. That middle child, Brittany, was the one that started the spark. You know, praying for people in need, waking us up one night and say, "Daddy, I want to sponsor a kid in Kenya," and she did that at 16 years old. And Brittany and Newton became pen pals. Unfortunately, Brittany passed away when she was 19 in college, and she never got to meet Newton. So that's what got me started. But
yeah, before that moment, which sounds decisive in your life, you probably never thought much about Kenya at all, did you?
Never. I didn't even know where it was. You know, who wants to go to Africa? So I cared about human beings, but I can't say that I ever wanted to go to Africa. No.
All right, Steve, that looks like child's aspirin from maybe the 1950s. That's some old packaging there.
Yeah, this is in Brittany's corner again, but what this reminds me of was a dream that I had shortly after Brittany died. And in my dream, I woke up with a box of children's Tylenol in my hand, or children's aspirin. And it makes me think that, you know, Brittany wanted to work with children. She wanted me to work with children. She's in heaven now. She doesn't need aspirin anymore. That's the kind of things I was remembering. But it makes me think about how something simple like this that we take for granted here, that a mother has in Kenya, you wouldn't have for your child. You wouldn't have access to something simple like this. And so we all need to be reminded of how blessed we are and what we need to do with that. Because we can care for our children and ourselves here, but they can't in Kenya so easily.
Here you are at this point in your life. You're a physician at that point, correct?
A nurse anesthetist.
Nurse anesthetist. You're putting people to sleep, basically, on a regular basis.
Yeah, I love my job. I had the greatest career, I think, on earth. I enjoyed going to work every day and doing my best and helping people. Yeah.
And so your daughter sponsored child, and it all started from there.
Yeah. Brittany had that. She had that way with people. You know, she could talk to you. She could share her opinions and her views, and you come away thinking differently and not even realizing it. She made you think about deeper things in life.
A founder, Steve James, who started Kenya Relief 13 years ago to honor his daughter Brittany, who died when she was only 19 years old.
I'm just really struggling to get some meaning from that. I decided to go visit Newton, the little boy that Brittany had supported in Kenya. It just swelled inside me, and it was like a train that wouldn't stop. I was going to Kenya to meet Newton.
Steve also happened to be a certified registered nurse anesthetist and decided to volunteer at a local hospital while he was in Kenya. It changed his life forever.
You know, I was going to see Newton, and I found this hospital to work at for a week, and I was completely blown away. I'd never seen poverty like that in my life and suffering.
Let's talk about what happened from that point to now. You started out not knowing beans about Kenya, and now well, tell us about it. I think people have read your story in various publications. They know about it, but there's a lot of us that don't know. Give us the thumbnail sketch from that moment to today.
Well, you know, when you're crippled when you lose a child. You know, it's a blow that lasts for a lifetime. You wonder what sort of meaning, why would God allow my beautiful daughter to move on at that young, tender age? And, you know, it was like God put in me that I was going to meet that boy, to do something she wanted to do something in her memory. And so that brought me to Kenya. And while I was there, I thought, why don't I just give some anesthesia, find a hospital? So I found a local hospital on the internet, little tiny 30-bed hospital. I went to Kenya not knowing a soul. I just got off the plane, went with some strangers, and I gave some anesthesia, and it rocked my world. It changed me, because I knew that.
How is that possible? Because you'd given anesthesia to countless people. What's different about a Kenyan anesthesiology moment than the U.S.?
Well, I think it puts you more in touch with the human being. You know, at work here, everything is so regimented, so we've got it all figured out. Anesthesia is safe nowadays, you know. In Kenya, you can't say that. You don't have the tools, you don't have the resources to help people. So little things become big things. People die unnecessarily. They go without care. I couldn't stand it. It just made me, it put me back in touch with why we do care for people and what we're able to do, and it changed my life. You know, I couldn't come home and live that way anymore. Like, I had everything a person could want.
And those people really had nothing.
Right.
And so, now, Steve, you got a lot of interesting things in your office. There's a long stick that looks like a walking stick. What is that about?
Well, it's actually a religious denomination in Kenya. A Christian lady came to the clinic who was blind in both eyes because of cataracts. And we did her surgery for $10. And she was carrying this. In fact, she insisted that I have it. And one year we did a postcard, and this is the woman walking down the hall with her stick, her prayer stick. And the day, I never will forget pulling the eye shield off her face, the first eye we did, and she just fell to her knees, and she taught me a Kenyan word, edakamano, which means thank you. And she prayed for 10 minutes, repeating, thank you, thank you, thank you. That's one little thing in the office.
That's a satisfied customer, Steve.
Yeah, she comes to see me now.